time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning and welcome to Storytime. Thank you for joining me today. Oh, lovely Wednesday. I hope it is for you as it is for me here. Great start to the day. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning. Please let me know where you're joining in from. And of course, the lovely people, pets, whoever it is that is joining in with you. Good morning to you and welcome to Storytime. Thank you for joining me. And we do have a wonderful book that we're bringing back today. And yes, you remember Joshua and Pip, they are back, and this time Calvin the Catfish. I hope you're ready. And this one is written, of course, by John Light Jr. and illustrations by Jamie R. Gandy. Good morning to you and welcome to Storytime. I hope you're ready for this one. The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish. This is book 2 in the series. Good morning to you and welcome. Please let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. And just to begin, yesterday we had people joining us at 11 as well. Good morning to you, Ellen Edwards in Chicago. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. Samia Karimi, Miss Samia, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. And I know that right now it is a hard time, a tough time indeed for Afghanistan. And I hope that we're sending prayers your way, and I hope that we continue to support each other. Thank you so much for the work that you are doing. Thank you so much, Miss Samia, for joining in. Good morning to you. Good morning to you one more time, Ellen Edwards in Chicago. How about everybody that is here today? Please let me know who is joining in with you. What are you having for breakfast? Good morning. And how are the first days of school going? Look who's here. Baby Beer, good morning to you. How are you doing out in sunny Seattle? Oh, absolutely lovely to see you too. Amanda and Baby Beer, good to see you here. Marlene, are you getting ready for school? Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is good to be back live. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning. And Amanda, I will be reaching out for a special request. Look out for messages soon. Thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, Baby Bia. How are you doing? Amanda West, Sarah, and Nathan, how are you doing today? You're in cloudy and wet Illinois. Such a difference with Seattle right now. Happy September, you say. Yes, indeed. Happy September, everybody. And good morning to you. Hopefully you're staying dry and warm and cozy out where you are, Sarah and Nathan. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Theo, how are you doing out in Pittsburgh? Thank you for joining us. And Gary and baby Theo, thank you for joining in this morning. Good morning to you too. And Kathleen Fuller, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining in. How's Pittsburgh today? Thank you for being here. Good morning to you, Rocco and Clay. Good morning. You're having cereal and strawberries. Oh, that sounds delicious. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Maybe by the time before you're done, we'll add some fish from Calvin here, right here. Joshua and Pip might catch us a fish. Who knows? Good morning to you. And good morning to you, Chriselle, as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh, how are you doing in rainy Pennsylvania today? Good morning to you, Andres, and of course, Aurelia Lee. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us on Story Time. Are you ready to start? Remember, today we're reading The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish, book 2 in the series, and it is written by John Light Jr. and illustrations by Jamie R. Gandy, and we're reading it with permission of Mr. John Light Jr. himself, and They Lived Happily Ever After Publishing. Good morning to you. Here we go. Are you ready? Robin, how are you doing? Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in, Robin. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I hope you're enjoying your breakfast if still going. And of course, please welcome. I hope you enjoy this story. Oh, goodness. Good to see you, Robin. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get started with our story for today. I hope you are ready. All right, here we go.
Hey, this is Timothy Goodspeed of the Soapbox Salute. I'm the one who wrote Storytime's theme song. If you'd like to hear more of my protest folk music, you can check out the links below on Instagram or at my website. You are watching Storytime with Mr. Lamada.
All right, Joshua and Pip, The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish, written by John Light Jr. and illustrations by Jamie R. Gandy, and read with permission of Mr. John Light Jr. and They Lived Happily Ever After Publishing. All right, here we go. The Adventures of Joshua and Pip. Once upon a time, on a humidly hot day, Pip and Joshua met on Oak Tree Hill. Pip held 2 fishing rods. Joshua carried a bucket and a can of worms. They were going to Ogeechee Lake to fish. Love that name, Ogeechee Lake. Have you been fishing before? As they walked up Greentown Road, they passed a sign that read, "Will you catch Calvin the Catfish?" Pip's eyes widened. "I'm gonna catch Calvin!" he exclaimed. Joshua reasoned, "Well, I just want to catch a fish." What do you think? Will they catch Calvin the Catfish? When they arrived, the lake was crowded. It seemed like the whole town was there. They heard 2 old men talking close by. Well, let's listen into this conversation. "I know. I felt my line jump. I almost had him. I know it," exclaimed the man in the brown jacket. "Oh, man, you didn't feel a thing except your belly growling. I am the one that almost caught Calvin." They continued to argue. "Besides, you didn't bring the saltwater taffy like I told you. Everyone knows you need taffy to lure Calvin." Oh. Who will catch Calvin? Pip turned to Joshua. "Do we have any taffy?" "No, we have worms," Joshua said. "Gummy worms?" Pip hoped. "No, wormy worms," Joshua explained. "But I do have some cherry bubblegum." "That will have to do," Pip decided. Will it be the worms? Will it be the bubblegum? What will work? The boys found an empty spot on the lake. They baited their lines. Joshua used worms. Pip used bubblegum. They casted their lines, and then they waited and waited and waited some more. And if you've been fishing, you know it's a waiting game, right? They heard a shout. 3 sisters each pulled a brown bass out of the lake. Whoa. Would Joshua and Pip catch anything? Then there was another celebration. A teenage boy caught 4 flapping crappies at once. Wow. But Pip and Joshua had not caught anything. The boys continued to wait. If there's something that fishing teaches you, it's patience, right? An hour passed. The sisters packed up their fish and went home. Another hour passed. The teenager took off. He was happy with his haul. The boys continued to wait. Oh, poor Joshua and Pip. Hopefully something comes their way. Finally, the sun began to rest its eyes in the western sky. The once crowded lake was now empty. Only Pip and Joshua were left. Joshua asked, "Are you ready to go? It's getting dark." Oh, what do you think? Should they leave? It is getting dark after all, huh? Just as Pip was about to reel in his line, something snatched at it. Pip held on as tight as he could. "Help! I got something, Joshua!" Pip pleaded. Joshua grabbed Pip. The line pulled them to the left and then to the right. Then the line pulled them forward and they pulled backwards. They were there tugging at it. Oh, what was on there? Was it Calvin? Oh my, suddenly a big, great monster of a fish leaped out of the lake. Pip and Joshua were astonished. It was Calvin the Catfish, and it seemed to wink and smile as it soared through the sky. Then it plunged back into Ogeechee. What? Calvin, did they catch him? Oh, water splashed everywhere. They were drenched. They lost their fishing rods, but there were fish all around them. They collected the fish. "No one is ever going to believe we saw Calvin the Catfish," Pip proclaimed. "I know," Joshua agreed, "but I will never forget the look on Calvin's face," Joshua mimicked. Quite the experience to remember. Pip and Joshua laughed as they walked home down Greentown Road. Oh, this is the end of this Joshua and Pip adventure. Who knows when is book 3 coming? Let's wait. Thank you so much for joining me on Storytime today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and it is called The Adventures of Joshua and Pip, Calvin the Catfish, and it is book 2 in the series. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that maybe next time they might catch Calvin. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you're into fishing, please do tell us, to give us some advice on what we can do when we're out there fishing. Thank you so much for joining in, and let's remember, please, to have patience with each other out there. Exercise patience. People may not always do the right thing right away, but we can teach each other, we can learn from each other, and we can learn to take a step back and reflect on what we are doing. Thank you so much for joining in today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, but tomorrow, please do join me, because we're back. Tomorrow we're going to the barber shop, and we will be reading Firkin's First Flat Top. So do join me for this one, written by my good friend Robert Lou Trujillo, and of course he illustrates this one as well. So thank you so much for joining in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. But remember, if you miss us at 7, you can always catch us at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Look at your local times and see what time will be on your end. Thank you so much for joining in today. Great to see all you lovely people out there. And of course, Robin, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. Missing you out here in Oakland. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you, Alan. How are you doing? Yes, indeed, a new month. I hope you're doing well, my brother out in Lusaka, Zambia. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, keep that neighbor neighborhood alive. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining in. And my regards to everybody at home. Good morning to you, Marietta, and of course, Henry. And you say, yes, indeed. Great fishing story. It is. Do you fish, Henry? Let me know. Thank you so much for joining in today. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Baby Bia and Marlin, thank you for joining us. And of course, Amanda Waltman, thank you for joining us this morning. I am glad you are here with us. Enjoy the sun out in Seattle. Sarah and Nathan, I hope it gets better. Please do stay dry and enjoy this wonderful day that we have together. Thank you so much for joining in. I'll be back again tomorrow. Yes, another great story awaits us. And tomorrow we're with Furkan. We're headed to the barbershop. So do join in for this one. Thank you for being here. Please do let me know. For those that are watching us at 11, I hope you enjoy it. And please do leave your messages below so that we can say good morning to you the next day, tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining in from Oakland. Nice in Oakland here today. It is still cloudy, foggy in the morning. Hopefully it clears out. I'm sure it will. But enjoying it. I love this cloudy weather. Thank you so much for joining in. Henry, good to know that you sometimes fish with Dad. Enjoy it. And hopefully next time you might catch Calvin the Catfish. Thank you so much for joining in today. This has been Story Time. Melanie, thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you as well. And please let us know who else was joining in with you this wonderful, wonderful morning. And of course, sparing a thought for all the people out there that are affected by the many, many situations that we have that are happening. But let us remember to always take a step back, reflect on what we're doing, and also be thankful that we have a wonderful day once more. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please have yourselves a wonderful day. Don't take anything for granted. Enjoy it. Remember to hug someone if you can. Please remember to follow the health guidelines. But out there, as we're going, we are responsible in our communities. Let us wash our hands regularly. Let us mask up. Let us sanitize if we can. And of course, remember to follow every health guideline. Thank you so much for being here on Story Time. I will see you again tomorrow when we go to the barbershop, getting that fresh haircut tomorrow. Thank you for being here on Story Time. Much love from me, and I will see you again tomorrow. Or maybe you're joining us at 11. Much love. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely. Won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be